Myles Garrett joined the Rams. We're waiting on his press conference to get some thoughts from him. But here's his stats in the meantime. Since entering the league, he's got the most sacks in the NFL and the most tackles for loss in the NFL. Danny, what are the chances that Myles Garrett is even better now that he's with the Rams?
I think pretty good. And I've been thinking about it all day, and the news broke before we went on the air yesterday, and I was on for 3 hours, and I'm still not sure it's really officially sunk in that Myles Garrett's on the Rams. I think when the NFL Top 100 list comes out, not that I'm a huge fan of the list and how the players put it together, but it would not shock me at all if Myles Garrett is not voted the best player in football by his peers.
Totally could be.
And so the team that we think and that Vegas thinks already was the best team, with the guy who led the league in passing, who had the most touchdown passes, who won MVP at quarterback, that arguably has the best coach, that easily could have been in the Super Bowl last year, one-score game in the NFC Championship game. The best team added the best player, and he gets to rush next to Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner, really good, young, penetrating defensive linemen. And as the point that Nick made yesterday, we've never seen him play with a good quarterback and a good offense, so you get to rush the passer more when your team has the lead.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he set the single-season sack record last year and then beats his own record this year? I feel like we just have to – I don't know that it's settled into the masses yet that the best player in football just went to the best team in football.
So I think it is hard to make the argument why he wouldn't be better. And to the point to where, because when you trade for an offensive player, and maybe this is just our own lack of understanding about how defensive line scheme works, it feels like there's a lot of questions of, well, a great player, but what about the fit on the team? Right. That always kind of hangs over. How will they use him? Does his offense, does the way he plays mesh with the offensive coordinator? When you trade for a defensive player, we're not worried about that really at all, except for maybe sometimes with a zone corner or a man corner.
Right.
Not at all with pass rusher. He has been pretty indestructible, aside from, I think, it was an elbow injury at one point in his career. And I can't get over the fact that the point I talked about yesterday, which is he has been in the worst situation imaginable for a pass rusher. Now, he's had other talent on the D-line, so maybe not the worst.
And there are a couple years they made the playoffs.
Correct, but they weren't making the playoffs because they were blowing teams out with an explosive offense.
Yeah.
He has... I should have maybe looked this up. I wonder how many in his already Hall of Fame career snaps Myles Garrett has played with a 3-score lead.
It's got to be a very small number.
Yeah.
And so,
If you told me 0,
and certainly even just the number of snaps he's played the last couple years with a 2-score lead since that year they made the playoffs is going to be very small. He's going to have that consistently. It feels to me like the only thing aside from injury that would slow this Rams team down is the weight of expectations. We haven't had an NFL team, at least that I don't think, that we felt like just was markedly more talented than all the other contenders with an awesome quarterback in a very long time. I'm not comparing this team to the team about to say, 07 Patriots were that. It was they had all pros on defense. They had Randy Moss on offense. And maybe the peak of the Gronk Hernandez Patriots kind of felt like that as well. I don't think there was a single Chiefs team that we felt like was overwhelming from a talent perspective on both sides of the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean?
One side.
Yeah. And so it is, and the Eagles teams that we've talked so much about their overwhelming talent, there were still many folks, and maybe still are, who were like, yeah, but the quarterback is a somewhat limiting factor. Nobody thinks that about Stafford. So Is that pressure too much? I don't know. But on paper, I do think this is clearly the best team in the league.
No, I agree with you guys on why he should be better. I mean, better players you're playing with, so they're not able to put as much attention on you as they were when you were in Cleveland. And I think too, contrary, like you're saying, could the pressure get to him? There's also the excitement about I really have a chance to win a championship now. Like I really can win a Super Bowl. I've already broken the sack record. I've done everything individually. Now I can add a Super Bowl to that. Like you're talking about legacy. And so the excitement of that, yeah, I mean, it would be awesome if he went out there and broke the sack record again. But I'll throw this. Here's the thing, though. As great as that would be, he's got to win the Super Bowl. Like Reggie White, that's what a lot of people are comparing this to.
Yeah.
Reggie White getting traded from Philadelphia to Green Bay. Reggie White's numbers, they remained good in Green Bay, but they weren't as good as they were in Philadelphia individually. But guess what? He won a Super Bowl, and we remember him more as a Packer. And that was a huge Super Bowl win for them because it was the first since like Lombardi and all that stuff. So if his numbers decline a little bit, but he delivers a Super Bowl, that's really the biggest thing.
Bonus question, Danny. You ready?
Sure.
From your initial take, best team added the best player and addressed their only one weakness in the offseason. Should we put the Rams on undefeated watch?
I was thinking about that. So I think that is, maybe I'll get there. This is all pencil, not
watch.
pen. Yeah, just watch. I think it's a little disrespectful if you're in the division with Seattle. Like if you're in the division with the champs who just had a blowout Super Bowl victory, and yes, they got a little worse, but like losing Kenneth Walker, I love it for the Chiefs. It is a running back. Losing Kobe Bryant, I love the addition for the Bears. It is a safety. They bring back the vast majority of a team that we just saw have a blowout Super Bowl victory.
Can I make an argument just to put it on undefeated? They lost the championship 27-31. They lost in overtime 37-38, and their win was 21-19. If 31 goes down to 24 and 38,
You're talking about against Seattle.
Against Seattle.
Yeah, sure.
And Stafford has 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. It's the story with Seattle's season was quarterbacks can't beat, like our defense is too good, except for Stafford. There it was like we can't stop Sam Darnold.
Oh, I think the Rams would have also blown out the Patriots, to be very clear, right? Like, so
definitely.
I think they were the.
Definitely, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta edit that out.
That was great.
Edit that out.
That was great.
Got him.
Josh doesn't have time to edit that out because he was giving us the answer to the question. Myles Garrett in his career has averaged 35 snaps a season with a 3-score lead. There's about 80 defensive snaps in a game. So basically a total of 1/2 of one game a year. The Browns have been up 17 or more.
That's about to go up.
No, and so so he said it's 300 total in his entire 9-year career. So yeah, I mean that he should have close to that many this season.
Yeah.
And so that is the piece of it that I do wonder what the upper bound is. And when you were talking about the defensive tackles, Byron Young is a really good player on the opposite end. Myles will still obviously be double teamed, but it's going to be, he's been double teamed his whole career. I am really curious what it looks like with Myles Garrett just being unleashed, pure pass rusher. The team is up 24-10 at halftime for a whole second half, and how teams respond to that.
Well, and what it could do, you kind of saw this with Micah Parsons in Green Bay. They could just still put all the attention on Garrett, and it opens it up sacks for other guys.
Yeah, it's a rare thing. I don't know. I wouldn't say Stafford's the best quarterback in football, but he was the MVP. Like we were looking it up earlier. 1994, Steve Young, the MVP, and had Deion Sanders. Like best quarterback, best defensive player on the same team.
Well, it's literally the defending MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
Yeah, so like
Which
that's
is when
94,
94,
right?
and
so
then Lawrence Taylor was that, but obviously it was the same guy.
Yeah.
So it's very rare in NFL history that we get this collection of talent, best player on each side of the ball on the same team.
Better go undefeated.
better go undefeated.
Okay.
I think I'm putting the Rams on undefeated watch.
Watch.
Just undefeated watch. They're on undefeated watch. Start
Undefeated watch, and then Stafford and Garrett retire, and it's like, oh man, those picks.
undefeated.
Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
All right, it's Tuesday, so it's time for Top 10 Tuesday in the eve of the finals. Top 10 Tuesday today, top 10 players in the finals.
Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Also seemed like the thing to do. Should be a great matchup. Coming in number 10, Julian Champagnie. He was unbelievable in Game 7. Brew, you said he was the X factor who could swing a series. There's going to be a theme when we do graphics today on the top 10 list. It's the elite company top 10.
Oh.
Danny loves these. Danny
I love 'em.
loves. I'm not saying this guy belongs with these people, but let me show you him with these people.
That's right.
Okay.
It's really
I like
fun.
that.
It's a fun game. Six
Oh,
or more
you know what? I was
threes
thinking he-
in Game 7 of a conference finals. Obviously, Champagnie is not Klay Thompson or Steph Curry. No one's saying that.
But he's playing like him.
But he played like him in Game 7 as a shooter. Feels like an X factor who can swing a series. Coming in at number 10. I could have done it for all of these guys, but coming in at number 9, Keldon Johnson. Sixth man of the year, carrying it over. Sometimes the minutes went down, the points went down, but in terms of points off the bench this postseason, only Dylan Harper and Alex Caruso has more, and we've seen him have huge moments throughout the postseason. Great player, obviously, for the Spurs. First Nick makes his
I'm
appearance.
shocked any Knicks are going to make it.
All right, take it easy. Take it easy. Mikal Bridges shooting 59% from the field this postseason, best among all players with at least 140 shot attempts. That's a huge bounce back also. First 5 games of the playoffs, he was awful, averaging only 7 points a game. He's been spectacular ever since. Coming in number 7, De'Aaron Fox. Looks great in Game 7. Obviously still somewhat hobbled, but hopefully that's a sign that he's coming back. Only player on the Spurs starting lineup with any playoff experience going in. He's been great.
Is he lower because of his injury?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lower because of his injury, and I admit that I am a little higher on the guy who's going to come in at number 4 on this list than most, but we'll get to that in just a second.
Wait, well, hold on. Lower because of his injury? I thought the Thunder were the only team that dealt with injuries. That's
I mean, he
crazy.
played, Nick.
That's just crazy.
Here's the difference. One guy played.
I mean, he missed games. He missed
Missed the first
He
two
missed the
games.
first
He missed the
two
first
games,
two
right?
And he won one of
Did he
them.
play in the deciding game?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to be sure
As
he
you were.
played in the
It
deciding
wouldn't have
game.
been no Game 7 if he
Yeah.
had been healthy.
Yeah.
He played in the deciding game? Okay. Coming in at number 6, OG Anunoby. I mean, that's too low? All right, I'll go fast so you can yell at me for all of these things.
Yeah. No,
Only
take
player
your
in the
time.
playoffs averaging over 57% from the floor and 48% from 3
Yeah.
with over 50 point attempts. Karl Anthony Towns, by the way, hitting those thresholds, but only 45 3-point attempts. So the Knicks have 2 guys who are
He's
shooting.
basically
at those
shooting
clips.
60-50 splits in the playoffs.
Pretty good.
He's an all-NBA level defender.
Yeah.
This must be the most talented finals in the history of the league.
It's a pretty
I
good
can't wait
finals.
to see who's in
It's a
top
pretty,
5.
and you think those numbers might regress a little bit?
I don't know.
Top 10 players
he's been
in
pretty
the
good.
God,
Go ahead.
doing a show with
Go
your
ahead.
best friend. Not all it's cracked out to be. Just chirping the whole time. Coming in at number 5, Stephon Castle. Had an immense impact on SGA. Everyone was talking about his defense, and they should. But on the offensive side of the ball, partly because of Dylan Harper injuries, partly because of De'Aaron Fox injuries, yeah, he had the big turnover games, but the ball was in his hands a lot. Assists, 21 and younger in the postseason, good company. Rondo and Magic and Stephon Castle. Outside shot, if he has a huge finals and it goes long to catch Magic, Rondo, 172 assists in a single postseason at age 21. Pretty ridiculous. Coming in number 4, this was very controversial in the producer room, having Dylan Harper ahead of Stephon Castle. Dylan Harper is remarkable, and the splits of when they win and when they lose, he's averaging like 16 in their wins, 7 in their losses. Unbelievable poise for a rookie point guard. Seems like as he goes, they go, and he also has the ability to calm down when other guys have been not performing. He comes in and was great. He was great in Game 6 and 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Coming to number 3, Karl Anthony Towns. He's been absolutely ridiculous. Best version of himself for months, really, on both ends of the floor. We just mentioned the efficiency splits for him, shooting from 2 and from 3. But also, plus-minus. Best plus-minus in a conference finals sweep, only playing 4 games. In the last 10 years, it's him, KD, and Steph. He has just been spectacular on both ends of the floor. I had a ton of doubts about him. He has proven me wrong every step of the way. Coming in at number 2, Jalen Brunson. Over the last 3 postseasons, he's your leading playoff scorer. 0.2 of a point higher than SGA. I would have absolutely guessed that it was Shea over the last 3 playoffs. He also has the most total points in the last 4 playoffs. No one scored more points in the last 4 playoffs than Jalen Brunson. Coming in at number 1, Victor Wembanyama. I thought this was a good theme for today because it was Club Superstar. Great club. Victor Wembanyama is about to enter the 400-260 club. 400 or more points, 200 or more rebounds, 60 or more blocks in a single postseason. Duncan, Hakeem doing it 3 times, Ewing, Shaq, Dwight Howard. Pretty good list for a guy who's 22 years old. But so you see his numbers, 394, 183 at 60. Bump it up, Hakeem, Ewing, and Duncan. He is going to enter that list. Now, I was asking Troy, I was like, is there any way we could make a club that Wemby could get into this year that he would be the only guy?
No.
Hakeem in 94.
No, Hakeem was like 32 a game in those playoffs.
664 points, 254 rebounds, and 92 blocks.
Yeah, no.
So Hakeem in 94, unattainable for 22-year-old Wemby, but those are your top 10 players heading in to the NBA Finals.
Is Wemby the best player in the world?
Yeah. Wow. He is. He is the best player in the world.
All right, glad you came along. But I think it's a good list. Obviously, I don't think you won't get any argument on the first 3. I'm gonna move Castle ahead of Dylan Harper. Like Castle is their second leading scorer in the postseason to Wemby, obviously. Second leading scorer against OKC, led them in assists for the postseason, the series, and the regular season. And in the regular season was the 3rd leading scorer behind De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. And the thing is, look, Harper is a great spark plug, and more than that. I mean, he may end up being better in the future. Both
I think Myles is going to age. I think he will age as the better player.
He may end up being, and I think it'll be close because obviously Castle's defense is critical, particularly on SGA. And if Harper was their second best player, which you're saying he is, he's not only playing 26 minutes a game. Like, that would be ridiculous if you're only playing your second best player 26 minutes a game when Castle's playing 10 more minutes, at least in that last series, and Wemby's obviously playing way more. So I think that's my main thing. I would move Castle ahead of Dylan Harper.
Would you have Harper right behind him? Because I think
I think
very
right
close.
now, I think Fox is more important to the team.
Oh, you do?
Just because of his ball handling. Like, we saw the difference against OKC. And even now, I still think just generally, he's not as spectacular as Harper and all that. But Fox, I would have Castle and Fox ahead of Dylan Harper.
And OG should be ahead of Dylan Harper, which gets me to my point.
At this point.
It's not even close. I don't think this is who's going to have the next best 5 years of the guys in the NBA Finals. Top 10 players right now. I think it is on the board, for the record, that Brunson has a better series than Wemby. I'm fine with Wemby being number 1, and it's going to be how much better offensively does Brunson have to be to offset the defensive impact. So I'm not going to argue that point. But Danny's disrespect for the Knicks knows no bounds. Josh Hart is better than Keldon Johnson and Julian Champagnie. Full stop. He's been better in these playoffs, and he is better. OG Anunoby is better than Dylan Harper. Stephon Castle, I agree with Brew. I have no problem. I think he's the second best player on the Spurs. I didn't think that was going to be the case going into this year, but it has been. But OG Anunoby is better than Dylan Harper, and Josh Hart is better, more valuable, more versatile, plays more minutes, does more all around than Keldon Johnson or Julian Champagnie. The Knicks, all they've done for this postseason is annihilate people, and it's not because they have some amazing bench. It is because their starting 5 is shooting a better percentage from the field than any starting 5 in the playoffs since the '86 Lakers, and they make teams quit at the end of the playoffs. I don't know how Josh Hart can't be on there, and I don't know how OG Anunoby can't be on the top row.
OG has been great. I think there's a legit case there. Harper and Champagnie or Keldon Johnson, I think that is a straight toss-up, and it depends on what role you value the guys in. the Knicks have 2 of the top 3 and 4 of the top 8. The top 8 is exactly split between Knicks and Spurs. It's a top 10, and it's 6 and 4. I don't look at that as being
But do you
totally
think 9 and 10? Do you think either one of those guys has been better or is better right now than Josh Hart?
Yes, I do. I think I expect those guys to have a bigger impact in these finals than Josh Hart. I do.
Okay. Keldon Johnson was nowhere to be found for
he
giant
didn't play
portions of
great
the conference
against
finals
OKC.
until the fourth quarter of Game 7. And credit to him what he did in the fourth quarter of Game 7. You know what Josh Hart was doing in the fourth quarter of his Game 4?
Yeah, I was just saying,
Kicking his
no
legs
Game
up.
7.
Why? There certainly was no Game 7.
No
He's
Game
just
7.
watching, chilling because they stole the Cavs' heart.
We'll see.
Champagne.
My pick tomorrow.
Steph and Clay.
Thank you.
Champagne had an awesome
Thank you for
game.
paying attention.
Yeah,
I love
the
Josh
Knicks
Hart.
guys have stunk in Game 7s. They have zeros across the board in Game 7s in these playoffs.
My official pick for the NBA Finals tomorrow
tomorrow.
He might pick a sweep. I'm telling you, America, he
be
could
awesome.
pick a Spurs
They did
sweep.
beat his
I mean, they beat an inevitable
his mighty
team.
Thunder.
Yeah, I
Still
mean,
can't believe it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to First Things First. Greg Jennings out here now. Let's go to New England, Greg. A.J. Brown, he is officially a Patriot. And I would have thought no one would have been more excited than Kevin Wildes. But then I heard A.J. Brown's press conference today. He was giddy. That's just a spectacular line. Great first impression by A.J. Brown with the Patriots. Are you buying that this fit is going to work out great?
Absolutely. I'm definitely buying. We're talking about a team that had a Stephon Diggs, an older version of Stephon Diggs, coming off an injury, leading them in the receptions and yards category. And now he's moved on. A.J. Brown, younger version. We know what he's capable of. He just adds value immediately, obviously what they've done in the offseason. But when A.J. Brown is talking about this opportunity and it kind of being a little slice of heaven, like obviously he knows what heaven is, but it's because of what is to come. And I got some plays that I want you to see, because a lot of times we look at young quarterbacks and we see receivers and we're like, man, they got to create a lot of separation. And that's not always true when you're dealing with the type of player that A.J. Brown is. He doesn't need a bunch of separation. Here's Kenny Pickett late in the season against the Commanders. Puts a ball up there because he knows who's going to make the play. He trusts the type of player he is. Jalen Hurts did it. And I think
Just always open.
and when you talk about players like A.J. Brown, I think this is one of the things that flies under the radar, and it especially did last season, which I believe kind of brewed a lot of that frustration, because Jalen Hurts, he doesn't consistently throw this type of a ball.
Right.
Where his guy isn't uncovered and he has to throw them open or give them a chance. I'm not saying he never did it, but we saw it less and less as their career together continued to progress. And so when you look at a Drake May, who obviously completes a high volume of his passes, very accurate, he can make every throw. We're going to see a lot more of those where he's not only schemed open, but when he's not open, still give him a chance and he'll make a play for you.
All right, so I want to respond to the on-the-field stuff, because I think A.J. Brown is spectacular. The videos you showed, he's open even when he isn't. One of the things about, and it's funny for someone like me telling someone like you, one of the things about receivers, right, James, but like, I try to judge it like, I think Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football, and part of how I like parse the greatness between him and a Puka Nacua or a Jamar Chase is like, he has done it without great quarterback play, right? So like,
Fair.
But there's a lot of great receivers, and I always imagine, like, what if that great receiver then ended up in a great situation? So if we look at A.J. Brown, he's been in the league since 2019, 6 years.
Yeah.
All 6 years, he has had over 1,000 yards. It's Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, and shout out to Stephon Diggs. But then if I show you every quarterback that he has caught a pass from since he has been in the league, are you going to tell me that Drake May is not clearly the most talented passer of the football by a considerable margin of every name on that list?
I mean, Gardner Minshew can sling it.
He can sling it, yeah, but like...
No, absolutely. Of course.
So it's kind of like the cousin of the conversation I had with the guys in the last segment about like, we have to imagine what Myles Garrett will look like pass rushing with a lead.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen
Yeah.
it. We have to imagine what is A.J. Brown going to look like with a quarterback with the arm talent of Drake May throwing him the ball? Because we've never seen it before. Now, that's the football part of it. I went back and I read a long article about A.J. Brown leaving Tennessee to go to Philly. And there's just some things in there that age kind of funny. Like, ooh, he's really excited to get to Philly because him and Jalen Hurts have a great relationship dating back to high school when Jalen Hurts tried to recruit A.J. Brown to go to Alabama instead of Ole Miss. Now we know about how their relationship, has gone. And then, the Titans felt like they could move on from him, and they drafted Treylon Burks, and they didn't want to pay A.J. Brown because the wide receiver market was exploding with guys like Christian Kirk. Like, it aged really poorly for A.J. Brown leaving Tennessee, and it got messy. It got messy with him in Philly. His first impression here is great, but I wonder if messiness doesn't just follow A.J. Brown with some of the drama, and if there's a speed bump, if something happens, if he's not getting the ball, if the drama won't follow him to New England.
I don't necessarily think that the drama will follow him. Like, you still want the type of player that he's been. You want the attitude. You want, in terms of what he presents on the field, you want all of that. And he had to sit down with, drawing a blank. He
Mike
had to
Vrabel?
sit down. No, Marissa.
Maria Taylor.
Maria
Yeah, we'll
Maria
show a clip
Taylor,
here in a
excuse
second,
me.
yeah.
He had to sit down with Maria Taylor, and he talked about his experience and some of the lessons learned, and he talked about too much in the wrong season can kind of create turmoil, and some of the things that he pointed back at himself, like the book on the sideline, saying some of the things that out tweeting and on social media, things that he wouldn't do. He's not going to do that moving forward. You live and you learn. We saw Stephon Diggs. We questioned what type of leadership skills he will provide this team going into last year because of a young Drake May. And he was the consummate pro, a version that we hadn't seen, if you will. The same can be said, and I believe will be true and hold true with A.J. Brown. When you are excited about a situation, when you are extending your career and you're trying to continue to be the player that everybody expects you to be, that you expect to be, then you have to move differently. You have to embrace every situation slightly different, but bring the same passion, the same edge, and even hopefully more of the same type of volume, type of a play.
Well, you mentioned the interview with Maria Taylor. He had the great impressions with the introductory press conference in New England. I want to show you a clip and imagine how Jalen Hurts is feeling, both watching that press conference. So Eagles fans are trying to put on a good front. We replaced him. We got Mekhi Lemon. I don't know. Like I expect A.J. Brown to be excellent in New England and Philly fans to be looking around being like, you know what, we could use a guy like A.J. Brown. How do you think Jalen Hurts should feel right now?
He should be both excited about the opportunity to play and not hear some of the things that he heard and feel that type of chatter coming from inside your locker room, specifically from a guy that you have a relationship with.
I just wonder sorry, go ahead.
But at the same time, he's going to get on the field, and there's going to be times where those contested catches that I showed earlier, he's going to need that play to be made. And I don't know if they have a player that can, and Devontae Smith is an excellent receiver.
It's great.
I don't know if the volume of how A.J. Brown goes about being physical and making those contested catches, if there's a player on there that can do, on their roster that can do that. Now, Mekhi Lemon, we will see, because he is definitely built to be physical, to go across the middle, to make those contested catches. We've seen him do it in college. We'll see if it continues to translate. I believe it will. But when they needed a play, regardless of what was going on, whether they weren't getting him the ball, whether they were minimizing some of his opportunities, when they needed a play, they typically dialed up a play for 11, and he came through.
I'm interested to know, because when A.J. Brown would do things, speak out of pocket on a Twitch stream or in the media or whatever, there weren't a ton of Eagles players saying, man, A.J. can't do that. It felt like he was sometimes the spokesperson for the locker room that was saying, like...
He alluded to that in that interview.
Exactly. Like, people agreed with me. The passing offense needed to be better. We were underperforming what we should have been. So I wonder if Jalen Hurts is just going to be like, man, I just have a different messenger this year. Like, if the offense still sputters, maybe it'll be Devontae Smith speaking out. Maybe it'll be someone else on that offense just filling the role of A.J. Brown, being disgruntled that they're underperforming.
Well, I think we'll hear more from those guys because there is no A.J. Brown in the locker room anymore. But this is going to be a very telling year for Jalen Hurts. Like in terms of you have to be the guy. You have no more A.J. Brown, who's a superstar. Obviously, Devontae Smith, who was a number 2, but obviously can fill the role of a number 1, but he's not a big voice. He doesn't garner the attention that A.J. Brown does. And obviously you have Saquon on that roster as well. It's going to come down to how we view Jalen Hurts in this
There's going to be
passing game.
scrutiny on the Eagles quarterback?
A little bit of scrutiny.
That's shocking to me.
Will be new.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.